What went wrong for OpTic at the second major of the year? Or better yet, how in the hell did OpTic lose to the Florida Mutineers? Guys, we're gonna find that out today in my breakdown video right now. One of the most consistent issues on this first map for OpTic was just their inability to trade. Compared to the first major, and even in the qualifiers going into the second, OpTic were so good and so consistent at trading their numbers. But in this map, it kind of is a recurring theme where they just are getting pieced up. If I'm being, pretty honest, you'll see in this clip right here, Vivid does get the first blood on Shotzzy, Scump and Dashy then turn it into a 2v1. They have a 2v1. This is obviously the very first hill of the game. It's very early on. We'll see what kind of start we get. But normally they would be able to trade this out. Instead, Skies goes huge, getting a two-piece on Dashy and Illy. He caught Illy sprinting at him, slid by him. That's a hard gunfight for Illy. But just know that this would have been a completely different situation off the very break of the game if Illy was able to get the trade. Illy was able to get the trade. Shotzzy would then be able to rotate in. They would now have an advantage on number 7, which is Dave Patty, and they'd be able to get, a decent chunk of time. And just for context, this is an example of how OpTic's trades normally go. Okay, they are very good at trading, and this right here is what got them back into this game. Watch how they break this P1 hill. So it was a 44, turns down to a 43, 3v3. It ends up going to a 2v1. You have Vivid obviously off spawn as well as Shotzzy. So they're in a 3v2 here. Because Dave Patty and Skies, they're coming up off spawn. And on the side of OpTic, it's just Illy. Even though Vivid gets one, he gets traded. Awakening trade Shotzzy. Illy comes in for the trade. Then they're in a 2v2 situation here. Turns into a 1v1. They have reinforcements now. They hold majority of this hill. I'm almost positive it's the rest of it which really gets them back into the game. Now, this was a major swing moment for OpTic, but they just weren't consistently making plays like this as a team. Now, here's the big one, guys, and I'm gonna preface this with it doesn't only happen to OpTic. In fact, it happened to Florida Mutineers earlier in this game, and it happens to every team on damn near every map. It is the Vanguard spawn system. Just watch. So it is P1 hill. Okay, trades are going down. No one is in the hill. There's 30 seconds left. OpTic spawn out. Number 2, Illy spawns out. And I'm gonna rewind this, because going into this whole scenario, you could see Florida spawning on the left side of the mini map, OpTic spawning on the right, the preferred side going into the next hill. And you might tell me, oh, it's because of number 4 Scump pinching down the steps while trades went down, and he was technically further pushed up than any Florida Mutineers member on the left side of the map. Like, if there was just a line right down the middle of the map, and maybe because the hill was white, like no one had it, I could understand that. But at the same time, I just don't get it. I truly don't. The Vanguard spawn system is pretty fugazi.
As Shotzzy is going on that long pinch.
And then just a couple seconds after Illy spawns out, you can see on the minimap, number 7, Dave Patty gets the preferred spawn. So not only is Florida getting the rest of this time, well, they're in it, but now they have spawn for new. That's just something that I think is unacceptable. And once again, it doesn't just happen to OpTic. It happens to every team, but it makes it damn near impossible sometimes to predict where the enemy is going to come from. Like, OpTic clearly know at this point, once Illy spawns out here, well, they should, just because this is Call of Duty basics, they should know, oh, okay, if he spawned there, that means Florida Mutineers is now spawning on the other side. So like for Dashy, he should know that they are spawning to his left, but still, like, come on. And then we have the absolute veteran play out of the king himself, laying with his dick in the ground, not giving away a free kill, waiting for the right opportunity to pounce. And we have Vanguard just completely fucking them over again. So Scump pops up, gets one, makes Dave Patty kill Sky. So, you know, we're going to just go ahead and say that's a 2-piece for Scump. Basically breaks this hill by himself. But then it's all for nothing because look at the minimap. They get a clean break. They get a clean break on the hill. I have to rewind this one more time. Not only do they get a clean break, you can see Dashy and Illy are running up their side of the steps. Shotzzy spawns like, I don't even know, by the front tower area. And that is the spawn that Vanguard decides to give Awakening. Like I said, I am trying my best to give a completely non-biased breakdown, in my opinion, what I think OpTic could have done better. And like I've said, this does happen to every team. It's not just OpTic, but it hurts when it's at the end of a game like this. But somebody explain to me how in the hell this makes sense. If this doesn't make sense, you all need to hit the sub button, okay? Because we're trying to pass Octane by the end of this year, and I need my damn subs, okay? Like, yeah, why push out? Like, it's at the end of the game. You don't necessarily need to push out. You could have played tight. Yeah, maybe you could have turned around once you realized, like, oh, Vanguard's probably fucking us. But still, it just shouldn't be a thing. And, you know, they don't really realize it until it's too late. Obviously, I don't think Shotzzy should be here. Because even if they spawned correctly where they should be, you don't need to be. You know, you just don't. But still, the bigger issue here was the spawn itself. So look, there were some very questionable spawns on both sides, especially at the end of the game, that really didn't help OpTic. But the biggest takeaway for me was OpTic's trades were just not on point. They're not up to their normal standards, and it could, you know, it can lose you a game. Going into the S&D, I think OpTic may have been mentally compromised after the spawn at the end of map 1.
You're gonna need every bit of that now. Can you ride that wave?
And I think it shows in the fact is they were getting first bloods and just not winning the round. Look at this kill out of Shotzzy. He gets the first blood on Dave Patty. Unbelievable shots, first off. Let me just tip my hat to him. But then he is kind of too far pushed up and no one else can trade. It ends up turning into a 3v3 and then a 2v3 and then a 1v2. But Florida, they just honestly do a great job of trading out the kills. A round that I thought OpTic would have easily turned into a Florida Mutineers win. Round number 2, OpTic start with another first blood. This time it's from Dashy, doing a great job at catching Awakening off guard. And yet, this is what happens. They don't actually clear out the A room. You can see on the minimap, you have Dashy who's playing on the island. Illy is planting the bomb, but you have number 3, which is Shotzzy, and number 4, Scump. They're both on the outer part of this A bomb site. While Florida have 2 people on the inside. So Vivid ends up evening it out to a 3v3, but then he switches lanes, gets one, gets lost, and finds a freebie on Shotzzy. So it goes from a 3v4 for Florida Mutineers to now a 3v2, and Dashy is just so far out of the play. He's reacting like me out there. But I can't blame him because Vivid really just found the hole in the defense and took complete advantage of it. Now it's a 3v1, all up to Scump again, and he gets 1, and he gets 2. Scump somehow made his way all the way to B, and at this point, neither of the players know where each other's at. It's a complete guessing game. This is a legitimate one-on-one, and unfortunately, Scump got kind of bad COD timing, made the wrong choice. But the real issue was they got another blood, but then didn't clear out the bomb site that they were trying to plant at. Down 3-0 already in the search, whether or not they get first blood, which happened twice, or they get blooded, OpTic just can't seem to get anything going. They're not in rhythm, but this is the perfect round for them because it looks like they have a B bomb setup. They have a free B bomb plant here. Shotzzy gets it down for free. You can see Illy and Scump, they're playing in this P2 area. They're trying to watch the push. Illy has the outer while it looks like Scump is watching Florida side. And then you have Dashy on the island once again. He's watching the pinch. This is where Shotzzy sometimes, because he is such a playmaker, and he normally is very good at understanding when he needs to, you know, pick the pace up and when to slow it down. But when you look at other teams that have had success, especially in this major on this map, I'm talking about LAG specifically, Asum, when he plants the bomb in B and the rest of his team is basically baiting him, right? Similarly to what OpTic is doing right now, he stays in B bomb. He stays in B bomb instead of trying to get away, right? Getting caught, running away, whatever the case may be. And they kind of let him do the best that he can to at least get one. But even if he doesn't, he prolongs his life so he doesn't make it an advantage for Florida or for any team. Shotzzy, though, tries to get away here, gets hit with a nade, and as you can see, he goes down to Dave Patty. Dave Patty's in fire, just ratting it up. But it turns instantly into a 3v4 for OpTic. Whereas if Shotzzy just stayed in the bomb, Florida would have to worry about him. Because they killed him running away, they already know, like, this isn't a seeker, right? Every team plants the bomb B, and then they're always stacked up somewhere on their side of the map. So now they already know. And then Skies is going to hit a great shot on Scump, as you guys can see in the gameplay itself, to turn it into a 4v2, which makes this round very hard because there's still 32 seconds left on the clock. And OpTic, they lost this round primarily because Shotzzy just got a little bit too impatient, was a little bit too antsy after planning. Once again, I don't know if that's their B-bomb strategy, right? They have a post setup where he goes to a certain spot. But I think in reality, if he just plays a little bit more patient, this is a round for OpTic and it gets them in rhythm, kind of gets some momentum on their side. Instead, though,
he's gonna hit a snipe.
It just puts the rest of OpTic in a very tough situation. Skies even gets a hit marker. Dashy does make a great play on the island of getting Vivid, who was pinching, but they're so out of position because of that. Illy's able to get one, but he's just traded. And as you can see on the scoreboard, even though some of the stats are definitely wrong because it says Florida's got 8 first bloods when there's only 7 rounds. Doesn't really make much sense. But when you look at the non-traded kills, this goes back to what I'm saying. Look, 6 out of Vivid, 7 out of Skies, 4 out of Dave Patty, and 2 out of Awakening. But on the side of OpTic, you have 1 out of Dashy, 1 out of Illy, 4 out of Shotzzy, okay, and 2 out of Scump. Their trades just weren't there, especially compared to the Florida Mutineers. And that was one of the biggest reasons why they got completely dismantled 6-1. Now, at this point, everyone in the team speak, including myself, thought OpTic was going to reverse sweep. We almost bet on it. I'm not going to go into the control itself. OpTic dominated from start to finish. I mean, look, 20-9, 24-16, 24-14. The only one who kind of had a rough game stats-wise was Illy, 12-20. But just look. And if you go back, if you're actually interested in watching the game, look at the non-traded kills. OpTic were on point with their trades this game. They obviously played very well fundamentally as well, but look at the difference. All 4 of them are in double digits, while Florida only has 1 in Awakening. So this is where I was like, oh, okay. Now they're about to start steamrolling the Florida Mutineers, heading into the next hardpoint. And it started out as damn good as it could have for OpTic. Because even though Shotzi dies first in this situation, OpTic win this 3v4 because their trades were great. Just look, Illy gets 2. Scump obviously goes to Dave Patty. He gets traded instantly by Illy. Skies then takes out Illy. Dashy instantly trades Skies. So I'm like, okay, OpTic are now in rhythm. They found their mojo again. There is no way this doesn't go a game 5. And if it does, I'm betting the house on OpTic. Now here I'm a little confused because OpTic do a great job on P1 hill. They're currently up 32-0, 13 seconds left. You have Shotzi, the first player in the assembly line, rotating towards New Hill.
Continues to move around, just taking bullets.
I don't know if OpTic wants to flip instantly, because at least from my experience in ranked play, it's not the easiest to break in this P2 hill from the front, right? From the side that Florida is spawning. Shotzi gets his ass beat by Skies and whatever, but this is the real issue. When you look at the minimap, number 4, Scump, he decides to flank fire. So if OpTic, if that's their plan, then I guess you can just roast me and say, no, Enable, it's definitely better, and that's what they do. I really haven't seen many teams do it this early. I mean, the P2 hill's not even popped yet. I just feel like Scump could have either tried to trade the kill on Awakening or ran back and like cut 7 and 5 off on the minimap, or did just about anything else. But instead, he goes in fire. Now OpTic is spawning out. Now, I don't know with Vanguard spawns. Quite frankly, I don't know if anyone knows, because their ass, if it would have even mattered. But I'm just looking at it logically. I don't really love the play. Don't hate it. Just something to think about. Look at this. When I'm in ranked play and I take this route that Dave Patty is taking, I'm screwed. Dave Patty not only gets 1 on Scump, but then it gets a 2nd on Illy before getting traded. So it is a 2v2 situation. Turns into a 2v1. But now Florida get the spawns that they want. And now OpTic, Scump number 4, as you can see on the minimap, he's coming from a way worse position than he was just previously in the life before. And this was Florida's first break on this hill. But hey, the game is still very close, about to go into the second rotation of hills. And up until this point, OpTic actually do a fantastic job of not letting Florida flip, because Florida is trying to flip. This hill is notorious for being a very scrappy hill. Most teams just try to flip the whole time to get the fire side, which OpTic currently have, because that is the ideal side for P1. And this is a little bit of COD timing at first, a little bit of Scump kind of giving up a lane, because as you can see on the minimap right here, he is watching this. People call this train or tickets, whatever, but just watch, because not only is this that, it is trading once again.
OpTic once again.
So Scump peeks out, doesn't see number 5, which is Vivid, goes to help on the hill. Vivid just kind of sneaks on through. Illy comes off spawn, caught off guard. He's sprinting in there. I don't even need to see his screen. I can just tell by the minimap and the situation. But he gets that kill, and we're currently in a listening with OpTic. But not only does Vivid get that kill, Scump also gets 2-pieced. He is not able to trade. So now, not only are they losing this last little bit of scrap, which is whatever, but Vivid is still, let me rewind it for y'all. Because of Scump kind of not really paying attention to the bottom of the minimap and letting Vivid get by, and then not getting the trade on Vivid, Vivid is pushed up into a great spot. Because the thing is you want the fire side for P1. But if a team can get into that P1 area from the right side of the minimap and you're spawning back fire, it's not ideal, because you either have to run through the doorway, which you can see Scump and Illy are right now, or you have to take the route that Dashy's taking, And normally people are then playing those cuts and just really hard gunfights. So you see Vivid then pops out. He gets one. Great trades out of Florida. Can't really fault the trading on the side of OpTic, I guess, just because they're in a disadvantage now. And this is more of a compliment to Florida, this map, and even in the series as a whole. But that all could have been erased if Vivid was traded originally, or if Scump would have just been holding his lane a little bit harder. Now, that the Scump part is a lot of COD timing and minuscule to the grand scheme of things, which is the common trend. And I've just been saying it over and over. Their trading was just not there. Getting down to the end of this hardpoint, this was once again a blunder on the side of OpTic. So they do a great job of getting to this top right area, the minimap, warehouses, whatever you want to call it, for this P4 hill. And they get themselves the spawns. Okay. Now they're down by 70 points. This is what they need. They're still in striking distance. If they can get a good hold on this. Also, what is wrong with Scump's character? Look at his hand. Looks like my hand. Not the good one, the bad one. But just watch the mini map here, guys. So at this point, I was like, okay, they did a good job. They're getting the spawns. They have Dashy kind of pinching. And then I look and I see Scump on a mini map. And I don't know if he forgot what hill it was or what. But Dashy gets the blood on the pinch. Trades are going down. But Scump goes to P2 for some reason. I honestly don't understand why. And essentially flips his team. Now, I could be wrong. Once again, I don't want to sound like a hater, but I'm just lost by this play. He looks lost on the mini map. And Florida have complete control. OpTic is coming from the front, which is not ideal. It just isn't good. But they're able to break until they let Vivid get a two-piece. They're in a 4v2 right here. Albeit Florida is going to get the back spawn, because that's the spawn you want. That's the spawn that OpTic had if it wasn't for the prior play. And then Vivid and Dave Patty just piece them up. Just kidding, because OpTic play P5 hill damn near flawlessly. They make it so they can potentially come back. Okay, we're going to a P1 hill where they can technically win off it. So I get that at the end of the games like this, things are very chaotic. And first off, I thought Vivid was just going to pop a two-piece and win the game. But you could see Shotzi is trying to make a play. Now, he's currently 16-24. And I think Shotzi, honestly, this whole event was playing at an MVP caliber. He was playing at an MVP caliber level. I can't even say that. It's so late. But it's like, one, you just don't, it's just, you don't need to do it at this time. But if you are, you need to play for it fully, right? He's playing to try and be annoying. But once Vivid gets one, he decides that I need to absolutely turn around and go towards P1, which isn't the wrong play, but he's just panicking. And then he gets shot in his side compared to if he was playing, you know, a ratty corner, whatnot. And then because of that, it gives Florida a 3v2 situation, and they just do what they need to do. Dashy does get the first blood, makes it a 2-on-2, but then he is traded out by Awakening's grenade. And unfortunately, Illy just gets jumped on by the Florida players before Scump can get there. But it's one of those things where who knows what could have happened. Okay, this play by Shotzi and OpTic, it compared to the rest of the game, really doesn't mean much. But it was still possible for OpTic to win this map and force a game 5. Shotzi just kind of panicked. He was making a play that you would make if it was a 100-100 game. So all in all, it was just a lot of OpTic's poor trading ability in this series. Some very questionable individual plays as well. And then you sprinkle on the Vanguard spawn system, which doesn't help anyone ever. And that was the main reasons why they lost this series. And I think it was one of the main reasons why they performed as badly as they did at this major. Now, on the bright side, if you are an OpTic fan, I think that this is the easiest thing to fix. I truly do when it comes down to trading, because there are a lot of factors, but it could just be something as simple as their communication or, you know, individual mechanical plays. Like instead of rushing to get a trade like you saw multiple times, just letting it come to you. Don't force the issue and put yourself in a bad position to kind of get a trade. It could be a bunch, but this is something that not only OpTic has struggled with, but every team in the history of Call of Duty has struggled with. So I'm sure that they're going to figure it out and they're going to be back on top in the next major and for the rest of the year. I truly think that they are one of the best teams in the game right now, if not the best team still. It was just a rough weekend and it happens.